Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Talking Craps. In fact, this is episode number 3 of Talking Craps. This week, we've got a couple of people joining us. We're going to talk about some trip reports. We're going to talk a little bit about social media, and then we're going to talk about what kind of gambler are you? And really hoping for a lot of audience participation in the chat. As you leave some comments, I'll be able to bring them in, and our panel of guests will be able to talk about it. So let's take a look at our guests for the day. Tonight, we're going to be joined by Ting, or Some Young Guys Games, Evelyn from Yo Girl, and Slambright from all of our Craps chat. So great cast of people here to take your questions. So I'm really excited to see how things go. So welcome, Ting. Welcome, Evelyn. Welcome, Slambright.
Thank you.
Just
Hey,
do a
David.
quick audio check. Ting, can you hear us okay?
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Loud
Excellent.
and clear.
Very, very good. All right. So like I mentioned, that we're going to talk a little bit about some of the trip reports. Most of us have went to the casino this past weekend. Slam's going to give us a trip report from Colorado and see how well it went. I'll kick things off here with the trip reports. All right. So this past weekend, I did go to the casino. In fact, we went to 4 casinos. Didn't really play at all 4 of them, but we did go. The first up, I went to the Kansas Star. Didn't go in to play. Actually, I went in to buy some canceled dice for a friend of mine. They have the smaller dice there at the Kansas Star, and a friend of mine was wanting to practice with some before he bought some real things. So went in to buy him a few of those, and it was on our way down to Tonkawa, Oklahoma. Now, if you've been around my channel for any amount of time, you've heard me talk about Tonkawa. It's been my favorite place to go. The table there was great. The crew was fantastic. But during these COVID days, they changed things up. They went to that electronic craps table. And 2 weeks ago when we went down there, the craps table was broken. I called them Friday night. They said, yep, we're up and running. I get there and no, they're not. So it was about an hour and a half drive for us. We make it all the way down there and not able to play craps. My wife played a little slots, and she did pretty well on that, but still not able to do what we wanted to do. So we went about 40 miles over to the east and visited Seven Clans First Council. Now, about a quarter mile away is the other casino, Native Lights Casino. So they're really close by each other. My wife likes Native Lights. I like First Council because they have a real craps game. And that's where I got my first hit it and get it for the weekend. I only bought in for $200, and the shooter to my right had the dice. I put a $5 pass line bet out there. It was great. It's a $5 table, and I had to show action in order for me to be the next shooter. Put it out there. Shooter goes 2 or 3 times and gets a 7, and then it comes to me. All right, so here I go. Now, my friend Mel Lumho from Craps Hawaii likes to give me a lot of crap about being on the porch. So I played his strategy this weekend as the Easy 75. Now remember, I only have a $200 bankroll, so I'm putting $75 out there and just praying for a win. I've got $30 on the 6, $30 on the 8, 15 in the field, and another 5 on the pass line, but we won't count that right now. I have some exposure. That 5 is going to hurt me. The 7 is going to destroy me, and here I am with the dice just saying, okay, let me get an inside number, not the 5. I threw 2 times, plugged the 5, plugged the 9. On the third roll, made another win, brought them all down to 22 inside. It was great. By the time I was done rolling, I was up $111. I cashed out, and I got out of there. Now, that was great. But I went back over to Native Lights where my wife was, and I got to play on my arch nemesis bubble craps machine. I mean, this thing was, I have a love-hate relationship with this thing. Real quick, just taking a look, we've got Patty out there in the audience, East Coast Craps and Dice Grinders all out there tonight watching the show. Welcome, guys. So anyways, I'm at Native Lights. It's Friday night, and playing this bubble craps machine. And I know that it has a history of 7s, but this night it was exceptionally bad. the bubble craps machine, it has a counter and a graph, just like George does from Life Fantasy Craps. And the 7 was rolled 14 times out of the last 50. George always talks about how we gave the middle finger to the 7. Well, that 7 gave me the middle finger. I gave back every penny that I won.
Yeah.
Yeah. But fortunately, my wife was doing pretty good on the slots, so we actually went back on Saturday night, and it was the same story. I still didn't do very well. In fact, I did the easy 75 at 7 clans again, and I was out in 3 shooters. I just couldn't get it working. And my other friend, one of my other friends, Rick from Let It Roll, he has a no fear. That's his thing, no fear. Well, a little fear can help keep you away from stupid. I mean, betting $75 a hand with a $200 bankroll, you're just asking for it, right?
Right.
Right.
But so that was my experience. Let's flip over to Evelyn. Evelyn, I understand you had a little different experience.
Yeah, this weekend I had a 3-day trip. Every single day I went to the local casino. It's about 20 minutes away from my house at Seneca Buffalo Creek downtown. And Friday when I went, they're only allowing 6 people at the live table. So I was like at third base. So I was over by the dealer. It was a bad shooting position, so I didn't shoot. But the guy next to me, that was his shooting position, and it was a $15 table. While he was shooting, I bought in for $200 also because I generally am a low better. So I normally buy in for 200. I usually have another 100 in my wallet in case I need it. But this guy went on a very good roll, and I was a very conservative better. I did exactly what you're saying. I bet the 6 and 8 for 30, won one of them, and then I spread out across. And I ended up doubling my money. So I had $200 profit, and I was really happy about that. So I went back on Saturday in the afternoon, and it was also a $15 table. The tables normally have been 25. So the $15 table, and at that point I was on the other side. I was on stick left 2 or 3, I guess it would be, because there's stick left 1, stick left 3, stick left 5 in the hook. Bad shooting position, but the guy at stick right 1 went on a heater, and he threw for about 40 minutes.
Wow.
So I pressed. That's all I have to say. He hit his point 6 or 7 times, and I couldn't believe it. I had no room in my chip rack, none. So I had to color up as I went along, right? That has never happened to me. There was no room. I had one chip rack that was almost all green and one chip that was jammed with red. And so I colored up 500 and put that purple chip in my purse, right? So then I have all this other money sitting there. And other people that were on the table with me were not pressing their bets. And this guy was on a really good, it was killing me. As a matter of fact, the one guy that was next to me at stick left 1 was like shaming the guy that was next to me on stick left over by first base, because that guy wasn't pressing his bets. And I mean, I was doing 50 for 1, 50 for 1. Then I would increase my, I went to 60 and 75 on the 5 and 9. I couldn't believe it because I don't really gamble like that. But the box boss was so great. It was my favorite pit boss. He's actually the area boss. And I'm like, Richie, I'm just feeling the love here. So I was just like, I almost had max odds, 5 times odds you can do, and on a $15 table, right? It was like I couldn't lose. So finally, of course, the guy did 7 out. But here's something, I did a little video on it, but I forgot to mention this. And we always try to practice consistency with our throw and dice control and stuff like that. You know, a regular player will do that. I'm telling you, the one time before the roll, the dealer's like, or the pit boss says, no roll, dice out. And we're like, where did the dice go? Because he didn't even throw them down at our end. Somehow he flicked them and they went up over his shoulder and landed behind him. Right? So it was crazy. So then it happened again. I don't know if his fingers snapped it. It was an older gentleman, and he's a regular there too, right? And the dealer's like, no roll, because the dice like went the opposite way, right? They didn't go down the table that way. They went this way where he was shooting. So no roll. Then third time, the guy rolls in only one dice. One die comes down the table. The other one's on the table in front of him. No roll. So we were all killing ourselves and saying a little prayer, right? That the next roll would be a number, right? That he would hit any point, anything.
So this guy's not setting. He's just basically a chicken feeder, right?
I don't even want to say it was a chicken feeder, but as soon as the dice were passed to him, he'd pick them up and toss them. He didn't shake them or do any crazy anything. He didn't throw
Rhythm
them
rolling
against the wall. You know, he just picked them up and threw them. Well, thank God he hit a number, whatever it was. And then he continued to roll. It was like pennies from heaven were just like raining down on our table. And
you have a comment from Dice Grinder out there. You know, he's talking about partial color up is always a good sign, Evelyn.
I know.
Anytime you can bring money off and stay out and play, and that's a good sign.
Right. Thank you. And yeah, locking that 500 away. So it was $300 profit right in my purse and almost 2 full chip racks. So the kid next to me, he probably ended up with 3,000 or 4,000 because he was just, we call it chipmunking, where you just put the money in your pocket, you know, for later. And so his chips were not on the table. And the man that was throwing, he probably won $6,000 or $7,000 on his roll. Because he was really going big. And
you know that makes me think of a question. You never know when a shooter is actually going to go on a hot roll or not. So do you wait until they're 10, 12 shots in before you start to press, or do you start pressing right away? I see Ting shaking his head right there. What do you think, Ting?
The sooner the better, right? The sooner the better. As soon
as
yeah.
I mean, I will start pressing right away. So I mean, let's say I do the one hit can't miss. So I'm covered after that first hit. I'm already even. Now it's time to press, collect, press, spread out, and just go for it. I mean, you already got your money back. Why not? You're there to gamble.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, personally, what I'm doing is I'm looking at a couple of different things. I want to see how the shooter is holding the dice. Like, are they just fastballing it down the table, or are they actually trying to do any sort of control? How are they betting? Are they betting with like an actual strategy in mind? If I can see indicators like that, like I will start pressing after like these, I'll do the one hit can't miss. And then after that, like I'll start pressing. But if it's just like one of those people who they stack the dice on each other, or like they have like their little superstitious movement and then they just toss them willy-nilly down the table, then I'm going super conservative on that.
Yeah.
Well,
but I mean, I have caught some long rolls where people just pick up the dice and they just chuck them. And I mean, and that's why on randoms, I have my consistent strategy that I go to where, it's one hit, can't miss, or maybe just play the 6 and 8 and, press up right away. I'm still there to try to capture that moment where somebody does,
Right.
go on a long pull,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's
Everybody's come back over.
about how fast you can get house money down on the board, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So yesterday I went back to see if the third day would be the charm, and I would have another repeater, but it didn't work out that way. So again, I bought him with my 200. It was kind of dead. I think football Sundays, people don't really go to the casino to play craps. They go to the sports book and stuff like that. But it was a grind, and I think I lost about $120. Fortunately, I hit a slot machine on the way out. There's 3 or 4 that I kind of like. I threw a $20 bill in. I got that up to $80, cashed it out, and split. But yesterday was not a good day.
Yeah, Evelyn, I did you mention which casino that you were at?
It was Seneca Buffalo Creek.
Buffalo Creek. Okay, nice.
So
Very
we
nice.
also have Seneca Niagara, which is in Niagara Falls. It's their big one with a hotel and a lot of amenities. But that's further for me. And honestly, I don't like the tables as well. They're higher and I'm short. So I like the ones that are downtown because I can reach over comfortably. Because I try to set my dice. And yesterday, I practiced in the morning on live fantasy craps, and George made a couple suggestions that I took, and I threw a 6-4 6-2-4-2 set, and I hit the 10 3 times in a row with that set.
Wow,
Mhm.
that's nice.
And that's how I made my money back. And then I left the table.
I can relate to being short. In fact, I have to stand on my tiptoes on most tables to throw the dice. And I've been lucky enough to take a class from Golden Touch Craps, and I was talking to the Dominator about it, and is there anything you can do, or do I do anything different? And he says, no, I stand on my tiptoes too, because he's a short guy as well. So that made me feel much better about it.
You just bring a phone book.
Yeah, just bring a phone book. That's not a bad idea. I have a friend actually in the Seattle area, and he wears platform shoes. He's only about 5 foot tall, and he wears special shoes.
Disco guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Little lights on him.
All right, let's go over to Ting. And Ting, let's hear about your casino adventures this weekend.
Well, my local casino is 20-minute drive, 40 miles from here. It's a Indian casino. Table is, they just switched to a light up table. It's super hard surface. And it's kind of hit or miss, but I think I'm starting to adjust to it. They used to have a pretty bouncy table back in the day before they changed, so it took a little adjusting to and practicing. But the table is max bet is 300 on the table, and is a $3 minimum table. So you get a lot of action at this casino. I mean, it's the only one around with craps, within 3 miles. I mean, 3 hour area basically around here too, if you want to go to a different casino. So, and I mean, they're pretty strict about temperature checking and masks and all that, but they do allow the table to be, 6 to 8 on each side. So, I mean,
wow,
kind of goes against what the social distancing and wearing the mask. But I mean, they're pretty strict about the mask, but I can wear a mask and play right next to somebody that's touching me. So I mean, it's kind of weird. But this weekend we went, me and Angel, we went, it was Saturday afternoon, and I did pretty well. It was kind of a grind. First off, started off shooting pretty good. Did a hard weight set to see how my shot and how my dice was reacting to start off. And I was on Axis, so I went to my insight set and did good. Probably 3 rolls, 3 different hands. I did pretty good after that. But then a flurries of the sevens started showing up after that. So it was like, 2, 3 hands later, a lot of sevens. Something went wrong. Shots was the same, felt the same. Landing zone was trying to be the same. So hey, now my shot's off. Okay, well then I'm switching to cross 7, and I did. And by that time, I was probably down about $200, maybe 300, right around there. I buy in 600 to start with, usually. So by that time, I'm down. I'm like, okay, well, I got to start playing some big money to get my money back. So here we go. Buy in 1,200 stimulus check right there. And, last 3 hands, just switched to cross 7 because I knew my shot was off for some reason, and just went for it. And, ended up cashing out $700 over my entire bankroll.
Well, you are the king of no
What is
fear
that
playing.
process?
Yeah,
There
no
was
kidding.
there was it was a good day. I mean, even the dealers and the pit boss, I mean, we go there a lot. They love us. So I mean, they don't even sweat the money with me at all. But they also know at the same time I don't go there to, try to wreck them or anything. What we're there to have fun, maybe win some money, have dinner, just have a good time basically. And if we win, we win. I mean, they seen me, do my share of losing over there too. But of course, you got to have some wins too, or else nobody's going to go back.
Right.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure. For sure. All right. So let's go back over to Slambright. And I think you were up in Blackhawk a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah, it was the weekend before this past one. I went up to the Ameristar Resort up in Blackhawk. I received an email saying that the tables were open, and it had been a long time. So I went up. I took a $300 bankroll. When I got there, the tables, and so they had little not plexiglass, but they had like little plastic covers on some of the chip racks to enforce the social distancing. And then obviously you're wearing a mask. They're making you rub down with hand sanitizer in between shooters, etc. So I get on the table, and there's three other people there, and they're enforcing you have to have at least $15 in action to actually stand at the table,
Oh, wow.
not just to like make prop bets and stuff like that. In order to like actually stand there, you have to have $15. I'm just like, well, okay.
And a line bet,
Uh, what was that, Evelyn?
a line bet or a place bet?
No, you had to have $15 in play. So if it was a place bet, fine. Uh, so I put it on I put 15, not 15, $18 each on the 6 and the 8 on the other shooters, and just watched and watched out for what happened. But thankfully there was only one shooter before it got to me. I was actually standing like all the way at the end of the table, which obviously not my preferred position, but it is what it is. By the time it had gotten to me, like I hadn't had a chance to like really bet much, so I passed the dice and then just let it go around again. Through the couple of shooters, obviously because of the forced minimum, I was down about 200, not 200. I was down about $100 by the time it got back to me. And so at that point, like I was starting to feel the rhythm of the table. And so I put $15 on the don't, and then I stuck 3 units each across all the place bets, and I went with the all 7 set. And like the two people at the other end of the table, they obviously superstitious, were betting against me pretty hard. And I ended up, by the time I was done with that roll, I had gotten my $100 back plus $81 before I sevened
Nice.
out. It was crazy because the first roll, I wasn't really pressing. I was just like trying to feel my grip, make sure that I was throwing the way that I needed to throw. So I wasn't pressing. I wasn't taking anything down, just like trying to get into the rhythm. I threw the 9 3 times in a row.
Wow.
Oh,
I was just like, why am I not pressing this? And but anyhow, um, I actually started pounding the don'ts on the other shooters because, like I said, I was watching what they were doing. They were just betting random willy-nilly stuff all over the place, doing stacked dice throws, etc. And so I made a little bit of cash pounding the don'ts on those people, mostly on the don't pass with a lay on the 4 and the 10. So that was nice. By the time it got around to my second roll, I'm up at that point about $150 total, and I went on another 11 roll. At that point, I was utilizing what Big AZ calls the hit and run. So I actually put $50 on the 5 and the 9, and 60 on the 6 and the 8. And when I hit them, I would just take my bet down along with it, try and get a little bit more money. And I ended up hitting the 9 on that another 3 consecutive times. And I took it down after the first, and I was just like, I hope I don't roll it. No, I didn't press or anything like that. I was just like, I took it down, and the dealer was like, you better hope you don't throw another 9.
Another 9.
And sure enough, and they're like, well, you hit it the third time the first time. You want to put some money up? And I'm like, nope, just going to play, like, I'm here to make money. Yet another 9. I'm just like, dang it.
Did you
Sleepy, sorry, Slam Bright. Sleepy's telling me I've got to cut you off.
Wow.
He's trying to get your attention out
partner. Well, what's up?
Nothing really. He's out there creating trouble.
Anyway, so the end part of it, I actually I went up with someone, and she wasn't doing anything, so I just like wanted to hit one more roll and go. So what I put 320 across. I was going to just hit 3 things. I was just going to hit 3 things, take my money, and go. So I worked on the come out. We all know what's about to happen.
Oh my gosh.
Guy comes up to the table. He's got chips in his pocket, so he doesn't actually have to cash in. And I've got the dice. I do my throw. He starts putting chips down on the pass line. Why?
Uh-oh.
I didn't cut him off.
Oh, did we lose me?
Just for a second.
Yeah, we lost you for a second.
Just in the good part, too.
Yeah.
Right.
So the guy.
What did the guy do? He put his bets down at the last second, and what happened?
So one of the dice hits his hand. Dice come up on the table. It's a 7, and I'm incredulous. They don't honor his bet, but they're going to take my money down.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And so that pretty much destroyed all of my profits, and I lost another $75.
Oh, darn.
And I was just like, ugh. Why?
So,
Why do they allow people like that? Why did they allow that roll to be a roll?
yeah,
But it is
because
what
it's
it
a
is.
7. Because it was a 7.
Yeah,
That's why they allowed it.
Yeah, exactly. So
Wow.
So I've got to ask.
Sorry, Sleepy. Story's over.
No, so Sleepy's going to tune into this right now. I need to ask you. There's a group of us headed to Colorado here in a couple of weeks. Ting is going to be there with us. Sleepy's going to be there. Mel from Craps Hawaii. Bird Dog's in the audience also listening. So where do you like to play in Blackhawk? Is Ameristar your only place that you like to go?
So I enjoy Maristar. I have kind of a love-hate relationship with the lodge. The tables there I usually find are either they're really hot or they're super cold.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, I usually have better luck at the Ameristar.
Okay. So do you ever play kind of there down at the other end, Monarch and the Isle?
Interestingly enough, I have not stepped foot inside the Monarch since before they purchased the property from. I can't remember what it was before, but I have played traps at the Isle. It's not bad.
Okay. Yeah, the Monarch. I'm hearing that the Monarch is a very bouncy table, very, very bouncy.
Well, I mean, maybe we find out this upcoming weekend if you guys aren't married to the lodge.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll bounce around a little bit. No pun intended. Hey, we've got Color Up out in the audience. He's saying he's going to be there. He's going to be there on Saturday for a couple hours as well. So it's going to be a good time.
Slam.
I have been invited, but I just found out that Sleepy's going, so now I'm up in the air.
Now, for anybody who doesn't know, we will be in Blackhawk, Colorado, Saturday the 24th from 2 to 4 p.m. It's kind of like an open house type of a situation at the lodge. Now, we don't have any reserved tables. We don't know who's going to get to play, who's not going to get to play. It's going to be a make it up as we go along type of a situation. So if you're in the area, feel free to come out and at least hang out with us for a couple hours. Hopefully we can get on the table, but if we can't, at least we'll have a good time visiting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So, that really kind of sums up our trip reports. Now I kind of want to pivot over to another topic that I've been working on. And I was telling the guys here, Ting and Evelyn and Slambright, that I'm trying to do a little bit of research on a topic. And it's called, What Kind of Gambler Are You? And let's just pull it up. So I've identified what I'm calling these 5 different types of gamblers. And what I'm trying to do is put together some characteristics. What makes up a date night gambler? What's a weekend warrior? Who's a recreational gambler? And that's what I'm kind of hoping to get some of the participation from the audience and get you guys to tell us what you think. Now, I love the date night gambler because the date night gambler is just looking to get lucky in every sense of the word. And, so the date night gamblers out there probably doesn't really care. He wants to show off, might be making all sorts of crazy bets, but at the end of the night, probably goes home broke. The weekend warrior, that's the person that's in the casino every weekend, without fail. The goal is probably to spend more time in the casino, maybe more. That might be the goal more than winning. And then the recreational gambler is somebody who has, probably taken a class or two, read a book or two, knows how to play, basic strategy in blackjack or has some good, solid betting strategies. So I'm just going to leave this up here for a minute and get you guys' opinion. What kind of gambler are you? And audience, I'd love to get your participation in on this as well. So until we have somebody from the audience, let's turn it over to Ting. Ting, what kind of gambler are you? Where do you think you fall in this?
I would say I done the first three.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been there and done that. I am more leaning towards going semi-pro, maybe professional eventually. Maybe in a couple of years, moving out to Vegas and just doing this full time. But definitely the first three. I mean, the date night gambler. I mean, I'm I'm not a really loud person, but I mean, I've done my fair share where I'm playing craps and I am pretty abbreviated. That's for bird dog. Pretty abbreviated.
What does that mean?
Yeah, tell us.
It's
Tim.
his term for inebriated.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
all right, we've got a couple of people.
Been up there till like playing, drinking till like 5 a.m. and then the next day I can't even get up because I'm hurting.
yeah, I think we've all been there. All right, let's take a couple look at the audience, the comments that they're making. Dice Grinder, he's a weekend warrior with a purpose. Yeah, and I've known Dice Grinder for maybe close to a year right now, and I'd say that sums him up pretty well. He's got a plan and he's working that plan. We got Joshua Plavko out there. He's a professional gambler, man. I'd love to hear more about that. What's your game? Is your game craps, or do you play something else, Josh? And then Dice Grinder has a follow up, at least before COVID. Yeah, I think that's safe to say for just about all of us. And we got Bird Dog. He's with Ting. He's played them all. He's been a date night gambler. He's been a weekend warrior, a recreational gambler, and I've also known Bird Dog for a while, and I'd say Bird Dog's borderline on that semi-pro right there. Bird Dog can play, that's for sure. Then let's see here. Andrew Dubby, he's a weekend warrior. And let's see here. And Sarge. Sarge would say he's in the recreational category. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that a lot of times that we take a look at this game and we try to be something that we're not. You can analyze the fun out of this game from time to time. It's sometimes nice to just relax and be that recreational gambler.
Absolutely.
All right, Yo Girl, let's ask you this question. Where do you fall in that category?
I'm the first three. I have no interest in being a professional or semi-professional gambler, although I'll tell you, it was really fun to win on Saturday. But I have to the past couple of years have been very difficult personally for us. My dad passed away, my mother-in-law. So we had a lot of kind of sad things. I like going to the casino. I like playing craps because I like being around people. I think it's kind of a team sport where everybody's pulling for each other and we're all enjoying just the whole casino experience. So I would consider myself a serious recreational player because I have such access to a casino. I could go there every day. I don't, but like I went 3 days in a row because I had the money to do it, but I just enjoy it. It's like I don't drink, so normally, especially when I gamble, because I like to have my wits about me when I'm betting. Money management is important to me.
Exactly.
So I'm a little more on the serious side, but I really enjoy it recreationally. I like the people. I like all kinds of different people. I've made friends, casino friends, people that I see all the time that we know each other by name. And I enjoy seeing them. I missed them during COVID. and I was happy
Mhm.
to see them when we were able to get together again. It was, fortunately everybody seemed to come back.
Yeah.
So
You mentioned um, it's not a team sport, but it feels like a team. You know, uh, when you're playing, especially when you're the weekend warrior, when you're there in and out, and you get to know the dealers, you get to know the regular players. It can be a lot of fun if you like the people that you're with. And there have been a couple of times where uh, I've tried to change the atmosphere of the table.
mhm.
There was one night in Tonkawa where the crew was just tired. They were dragging, and it wasn't that they were crabby or anything, but they were tired. They were worn out, and they weren't their normal fun self.
Right.
So I went and I bought a couple of plates of nachos and had them sent to the break room, and that
Oh,
just created a buzz. They didn't know who did it, and it just energized them. And another thing that I will do from time to time is make a bet for the shooter. It doesn't really matter what it is, a dollar hard
oh
for
yeah.
whatever. But it's funny how a few dollars can really change the experience and start to turn things around. So if you're at a table, at a crabby table, and you're like me and you don't have a lot of options, you can't really go to the next casino. Try just throwing a few bucks out there for the dealers or for another shooter and see how that changes things.
When I won
All
all
right.
that money the other day,
Yeah.
I had I had the dealers for $1 all the way across. And I didn't know this at the time, but at our casino, on a 5 and 9, the house will pay them 3 to 2. So, like, I should have been putting $2 on the 5 and 9, and they would have made 3 when that guy was shooting all those great numbers. But they were only making 1 to 1 because every time one would fall or would be hit, I would throw another chip on the table, $1. Um, so yeah, the dealers do appreciate that. I mean, they just love it.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got Craps Cat out in the audience tonight. She is identifying as a weekend warrior and a recreational gambler combined. And yeah, I get that. Studying the game constantly, trying to find an edge, but you're really there to have fun. You want to win, but you're really there to have some fun. Slambright, what kind of gambler are you?
Um, well, I wish I had the bankroll to be a weekend warrior for sure. Um, I would say that I probably am a mix between the recreational gambler and the date night gambler. I take the time to study the game, to study the throw, to make sure I know what's going on so that when I go to the table, like it's money. Everybody, like Evelyn said, money management is a huge thing. And one of the ways that it makes it easier for me to bet larger amounts of money is to know what I'm doing with it. So
Mhm.
I can look at the chips as just chips and not as money.
And that's hard for me to
But
do.
I yeah, it it's difficult, especially you know I don't think any of us are like truly rich right now, except for Ting. But
Right.
um,
What are you talking
but
about? He uses a
the
stimulus check to play craps with.
but I think the thing is that you have to be able to um, know what you're doing. But I I make the date to go up there like maybe once a month, something like that. And I don't ever go with what I can't afford to lose. So
Right.
Smart move. Smart move.
that is me.
Awesome. All right.
So one
Any?
thing I did want to mention though, when you're playing with big money, a lot of people don't realize that um, there's a lot of pressure. It took me a while to actually play the stimulus over and over and over before I'm, am a little more comfortable. I mean, I'm still getting a little nervous sometimes playing it, but I'm definitely not like my first time, just let's go for it. Stimulus up there, and my hands are shaking when I'm getting ready to shoot. I mean, it takes a little time. I mean, I have Paul with me. He seen me pull out the stimulus, and that was actually the first time he saw me, and I stayed up for 2 hits, and he just about had a heart attack, and he wasn't even shooting, and then he wasn't even betting. That was my money.
Right.
So do you find
after
that the
second
dealers
hit,
treat
it
you?
was like,
Do
after
the dealers
second
treat you
hit,
different?
huh?
Do the dealers treat you different when you start playing with that kind of money?
It kind of depends. I have gotten at some casinos, some dealers, they'll get pretty serious because that's a lot of money up there. They don't want to see you lose it. Maybe they do. Who knows?
No.
But pit bosses might look at you a little bit different. But so far, most of the casinos that I played, I never really had any problem. When I was in Vegas, Silverton, it was like right across the street from our hotel room, and so we were playing there a lot. And 1,200 inside, 1,800 across. One time I looked down, it was 3,600 across.
Wow.
Um, uh, they didn't care. The pit bosses didn't care. The dealers didn't care. They
It's
were
just
pretty
nothing.
cool about it.
It's just a game to them. It's just a job and moving on.
Yeah.
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 So
Right.
to them, it really is
also,
just
it
chips.
probably does help because I tip them pretty well too.
That's exactly what I was about to ask. Louis just put a comment out there. He says he always puts
Right.
the dealers in the game as soon as he starts to shoot. So what is your tipping style?
So usually, what I do is I will get my regression strategy done first, and then once I get my regression, now I'm on free money. Now I'll start tipping as I'm winning each hit, or I'll put them across player control, or sometimes I'll just go across and they take it down each time. I just keep replacing it, and then I also tip at the very end. So this weekend, I'm putting the dealers in on my last shot, and I ended up going on a long roll, hit like 8 points.
Wow.
Yeah, I hit like 8 points made. Went on a pretty hot roll, and they probably made just through that play, probably made about 50, $60 off of me.
Wow, that's great.
On top of $43, $44 I tipped them at the end. But that was just one single hand. There's other hands that I played too.
Yeah.
So
Sarge
we
just dropped us a
definitely
comment.
keep the dealers involved with tips because it does help. Unless you're in Golden Nugget and Reno, that casino sucks.
Oh no. I was gonna say Sarge just dropped a comment out there. He always puts the dealers up on the ATS, and Dice Grinders player control is the way he likes to tip. So I do the same thing. Player control is the best way to go. Because it's funny because I've seen some dealers far more aggressive than the players. If they'll want to press it up, and then there are other dealers that no, they want that dollar. bring that dollar into their tote button or tote box. Kind of crazy. Yeah. All right, guys, let's shift gears for just a second, and I want to talk a little bit about social media. Not too long ago, I procured the Instagram and Twitter accounts for Craps Nation, but I haven't had a chance to do anything at all with it. So I've talked to a good friend of mine, Chili from Motown, and he's going to take over the administration of these accounts and actually get them up and running. That we as the Craps Nation can enjoy it. Now, I use the term Craps Nation kind of loosely. All Craps Nation is it's a term to identify Craps players. If you like the game, if you enjoy the game, you are part of the Craps Nation. There is no membership. There is no club. It's just a group of people that like the game. But as Chili starts to work with this Instagram and Twitter accounts, I really hope to see you guys using the hashtags and taking full advantage of the social media that we have available to us. But Instagram and Twitter aren't the only things. There's a couple of other things that we can do. For those that are familiar with the Discord site, there is one out there that was created by Craps Down Under, Andrew. And the Discord is my personal favorite way of social media. I like how organized it is, and you can do live games, all sorts of things. But so Discord, if you're interested in that one, check that one out. And then there's the ever popular Skype Craps Chat. We have over 100 people that participate in our Craps Chat, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, several different countries, several different continents. So if you join us on Craps Chat, I highly recommend you put that mute button on. Otherwise, you're going to be awake all night getting ding, 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 all sorts of messages. But it's a lot of fun. And then the last one that I want to mention is a Facebook forum. It's not really associated with Craps Nation, but I do find a lot of our Craps Nation members are part of this forum and that they're active on it. It's called Anything Craps. And gosh, Slambright, I cannot remember the guy's name. Larry
Casper.
Larry Casper. Yeah, he has a YouTube channel out there also, and he's very entertaining and very educational to watch. And he's actually the administrator for Anything Craps. So there's many different ways to join us in the Craps Nation and participate with a broader and wider audience that you can connect with. So I highly recommend that. And then also, I kind of wanted to come back over and talk to Evelyn for a minute. And Evelyn, you've just started your own YouTube channel.
I did. And that's one of the things I was going to mention, Dave. Thank you for bringing that up. That I do have a couple goals that I want to achieve with that. I actually, for the most part, go to the casino by myself. My husband does not like to gamble. And for a long time, it was very uncomfortable to do that by myself. And it was very, very uncomfortable to approach the craps table. I'm not single, but as a single woman, just by myself with no accompaniment. It was very intimidating. And there are a couple women that play who I've become casino friends with in Buffalo. And we do enjoy being on the table together. And I really think that more girls should play craps. I think that it's very, how do I want to say it? It's intellectually stimulating to play craps, I think, because there's so many different ways that you can play this game. And you can try different strategies, like Craps Cat said in her comment. I mean, I study the game too. But I think a lot of women are intimidated to go by themselves. And I'm really hopeful that my channel will encourage women to step out and to be confident and to, everybody throws a 0.7 out. So it doesn't discriminate. So, you can sit there and be afraid to shoot. Nothing bugs me more than a person who will be at the table and not shoot, because I think everybody has a responsibility to at least shoot once and see how they do. And instead of, because sometimes it makes me feel a little scared, like, somebody's not throwing and you're counting on me to throw. Take your turn. If you're going to sit there and play the don'ts, by all means, go ahead, but take your turn and shoot.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. A lot of the dark side players, they do not shoot. They will pass the dice. And, I'm kind of the opposite of you there, Evelyn. I don't mind that one bit. Get that dice back to me as fast as we possibly can. Yeah. And I'm not saying I'm a great shooter, but hey, if you're not going to shoot, that's fine. Get them back to me and I'll try it. but it goes back to that confidence that you were talking about. When you first, I remember the first few times that I was playing the game, my hands were physically shaking when I threw the dice. And I only had $5 out there. That's not that big of a deal. And I'm going to ask one more question before we kind of sign off for the night. And and see how you guys want to answer this. So let's start with Ting. Ting, what got you started with the game of craps? Why did you pick up the dice?
Well, I mean, I always would walk past the craps table and was always interested. But my first time actually watching somebody playing live at a casino was actually here locally when I was younger. It was during a road trip back from Salem, Oregon. We're going to a paintball tournament, and on the way back, Seven Feathers, we passed there, and so we stopped. And actually, the captain of the team was trying to talk me into how to play it, and I'm like not catching on. And I don't even remember. I think he had maybe $5, $6 on the 6 and 8, and maybe a one hit and take down. I mean, he buy in for $20, but he was just like, he was bragging like it's an easy game, So that kind of got me started, and then, but it's intimidating to actually want to learn it and actually learn it at the casino. So I never really got around to it until about a year and a half ago. I'm like, I got to do it. I'm gonna do it. I want to learn it. So that's how I started finding out people on YouTube and Craps Nation, because I started just watching all kinds of videos, on YouTube. But I mean, it worked out great because I met a lot of cool people on YouTube.
And
Exactly.
you have a channel out there as well, a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I haven't been on for a while. Once the lockdown came out, it was going to a lot of casinos, and then, I also do game streaming on the side too, just for fun. So I've been doing a lot of that, and then, just practicing. But I mean, I haven't really been on YouTube as much, which I should, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's not a big deal. I'm not really trying to get anything out of it. Like I'm just giving. I started doing it to give back to basically the craps community.
Yeah. I was just trying to go out there and get a link, and I think I've got it. I'm posting a link out to your YouTube channel.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
There we go. So if you guys haven't checked them out, please do so. And I also earlier I posted a link out for Yo Girl. All right, let's go. Let's go back over to Slam. Slam, what got you interested in this game?
So the first time I played craps, my boss invited me to go up to Blackhawk with him, and it was, well, I mean, the dude's my boss, so might as well kiss up a little bit. But to speak to the community nature of it, what really got me into craps was the first time that I went up. A lady went on a 52 roll.
Wow.
It was just incredible. Everyone at the table is just cheering and excited. And I think I probably made like $70. Now, if I were the player I am today, it probably would have been a lot more. But just the whole, to speak to your point, Evelyn, it was so much a team activity that evening. Everyone's happy for everyone. Everyone's cheering. Everyone's happy with each other. And that kind of social atmosphere is so infectious. It is absolutely addictive. When everyone, people are betting on you, you're betting on other people, everyone is making money. And, the dealers, obviously, they're there to make the money for the casino, but they're there to make sure you're having a good time too. And that's what got me going back.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw,
single time
Sarge put a comment out there just like what you're saying. It says the craps table always seems to be the most live table, and I had to play to find out what the deal is, and now he's hooked.
Exactly. That is exactly it. And that, ever since then, I'm, like a junkie, always looking for that next long roll, that next high feeling.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. For me, it was about money preservation. I got so sick and tired of losing money on slot machines that I thought,
Oh, yeah.
okay, I could put $10 out on a table and last 10 minutes or so. When $10 in a slot machine goes in 2 minutes tops, uh,
right.
even playing minimum on a slot machine, I don't know how those machines can detect a negative attitude, but that's me. I do not like playing the slots, and it knows it, and it's going to take my money every time. So
Yeah.
that's the real reason I started playing craps is I got tired of playing slots. But
Yeah, so
anyways,
especially, they call it penny slots, but
yeah,
each pull you're still spending like $1, $1.50, something
Sure.
like that.
yeah, yeah. All right, guys, we're in for about an hour, and I think that's a pretty good place to go ahead and stop the show for tonight. Evelyn, thank you for joining us, Yo Girl. Everybody, check her out on YouTube, on our social media pages. She definitely is a leader. Her along with Krebs Cat, and we're trying hard to get her on here as well. Uh, you know, uh, I don't like calling out a gender bias here, but we would like to see more female players play the game. You do bring something to the game, and we do really appreciate it.
Well, thank
Now,
you very
Ting,
much.
Thank you for joining us tonight. And I've got to ask one question. Those lightsabers in the back, are those from the Disney World?
No, actually, you know what? Those are actually a custom company in Portland area, and they are real lightsabers that you can spar with,
Oh, wow.
even more
Nice.
than
Wow,
sparring.
sparring
So,
quality. That's nice. Nice. Very nice.
yeah. So, and they light up, and actually, the top two can connect into a spear, basically.
Nice.
Yeah.
That needs to be your next video, man.
Right.
Demonstrate those lightsabers for us.
Yeah.
Oh
All
my
right.
God.
Then we're going to wrap it up. Slam Bright, as always, thank you for joining us. Here, we're going to be in Colorado next week or 2 weeks from now. I'm going to be doing a personal interview with Slam Bright, and it's going to be on a future show. Really looking forward to it. And guys, any parting comments for tonight?
Another quality production, Dave.
Another quality production.
Yeah.
That's what
Thanks
I
for
live
the
for.
great talk.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you very much. We do appreciate it, and we'll be back again next week.
All right.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you,
Have a
Dave.
great night,
Bye,
everyone.
Night, guys.